It's not good for the addict to decide what the wife should know and what he's willing to tell her and what secrets he wants to keep. What she wants to know. We need to talk about this as far as the marriage recovery, because this is an important piece. Because the wife is part of the impacts of the addiction, the recovery, and restoring the marriage. So honoring her is super duper incredibly important. So honoring what she wants to know can be really helpful. And if you need to have a professional navigate this together, go ahead and do that. But in my experience, it's best to have the couple agree on what the wife wants to know about relapses and recovery. So it's not good for the addict to decide what the wife should know and what he's willing to tell her and what secrets he wants to keep. Okay? Generally, what we're talking about is the behaviors on the recovery plan that's written out. We talked about that earlier. A written out plan, okay? Written out boundaries. Okay, so like if we're dealing with sex addiction, like we talked about in earlier segments, no masturbation, no porn, no inappropriate conversations, okay. And so these are behaviors. Now, if he has a silly thought, that might be something he'd be accountable with another man or a guy in his group, okay. But these are behaviors that the couple have agreed upon. This is what recovery is, okay. And if it's intimacy anorexia, it might be a list of proactive things, okay. So whatever the behavioral list is, that's what we're talking about. So they would have these behaviors and then talk about, do you want to know if, for example, I masturbate? Now, 95% of women are going to say, yes, I do want to know. But she has the right to be able to say, no, I don't want to know. Just, tell your accountability guys, whatever, or we'll just catch it on a polygraph. You can do it that way. Some women would rather do it that way. Generally speaking, once you agree to what you're going to tell your wife, you need to tell her. Not just tell her like when you feel like telling her, when you've got a week where you feel good about yourself now, you tell her within 24 hours. Setting up a 24-hour tell policy is general recovery around here, a very helpful principle for marriage. Because that way, if you wait a week or two until you feel good about yourself, first of all, it's all about you looking good, okay? You're still protecting yourself, you're not protecting your marriage, you're not protecting her by not telling her. If she wants to know, protecting her means you tell her, okay, in a very proactive way within 24 hours, because this is not just about you, it's about all of us, all right? And so if you agree to tell your wife that you would tell her if there's a relapse, you need to tell her within 24 hours, okay, so that she doesn't run into discovering it. Because if you tell a woman honestly that you failed, it goes a lot better for you than say 5 days into it, she discovers it. Now you're a liar and you've been covering and you're hiding, you're sneaky, you're still the addict, you're still self-absorbed, and you will deserve all of those comments because all of them are true. And you might be thinking, well, I'll tell her on day 12 so I can say, hey, I got 12 days clean, but 12 days ago I did this. Well, you are setting yourself up for so much pain and willing to sacrifice your wife going into amplified pain so that you can feel safe over here. Well, it's not about you. If you fell as a knight in recovery, you own it within 24 hours, you take responsibility for it, you do your consequence, and that's the kind of communication, if you both agreed upon, that she should get. Okay? Now, if there are relapses that never occur, that's great, okay? Because relapses are 100% a choice. And that would be the best thing. But even in that situation, let's suppose the guy's doing wonderful. He's 100% clean. It's still valid to agree on what information about recovery that you guys are going to review. Because like if you got a new hobby or a new car or you were, something was going on in your life, you would share those things with your wife. So recovery is kind of like that. So you want to be proactive. Don't make your wife ask you, what are you learning in your recovery? What are you doing in your groups? Don't make her come to you for information. You're a man. Initiate the information. okay? You want to restore trust, you want to restore hope, you want to restore confidence, then you go to her and say, hey, let's talk about our recovery. Some couples actually have a recovery meeting, either once a week or every other week. And they discuss both of their recoveries. What am I learning in workbooks? What is she learning in workbooks? What are we learning in our steps? What are we learning in our groups? Okay, and we just cover some basic stuff. Has there been any relapses? Okay, just reviewing recovery. So I find it really, really important for the couple to agree on what they're going to review, how often they're going to review, and if she wants to know something, if it's reasonable, go ahead and make that happen as soon as possible. And if you feel like it's unreasonable, then talk to a counselor who specializes in addiction. Not one that will just sympathize with one person or the other, but go to someone who really deals with addiction day in, day out, and let them become the person who says, yeah, that's kind of out there, okay? And I've heard some really out there things, and I've had to call it every once in a while. But I would say 95 to 98% of the time, women are really reasonable in what they want to know. And so let them know what they want to know.